Thanks, Chrissy. Thanks very much. So at Koba Resources, we have two uranium projects, both in world-class jurisdictions. Our focus is the Uranium project, which is located in the Frome embayment of South Australia, immediately north of Boss Energy, where we have 5,000 square kilometres and 250 kilometres of paleo channels to explore. It's a true exploration play, and it's a very exciting jurisdiction. We have the Oban deposit, which has got a JORC 2004 compliant resource. And as Chrissy said, it's located in the jurisdiction where you can actually mine uranium. There's 3 producing uranium mines in South Australia, and that's the only 3 operating in Australia at the moment. Our second project is the RIU Uranium project in Canada. It's located also in a very strong uranium district. It's located near, just 50 kilometres to the west of Paladin's 127 million pound Michelin deposit. And during our recent sampling program in June, we actually returned a rock chip sample of 7.48% uranium. So that's 74,800 ppm. So it's a totally different proposition. It's a hard rock uranium project, but it's very exciting and very high grade. A little bit about our capital structure. So we've been in uranium really only for the year. We acquired the Uranium project in January. You can see our share price performance since then. Hasn't done so well recently, but it's remained pretty strong generally. Market cap at 12. We've still got 3.5 million cash in the bank. We're currently drilling, and so things are looking up for us as we continue to have success with the drill bit in South Australia. So let's talk about our location. So we're in the Frome embayment, and there's 2 producing ISR operations within about 100 kilometres of us. One being the Beverley Uranium operation. It's got a global resource of around about 165 million pounds at 2,800 roughly ppm uranium, and it's been producing uranium for 20 years continuously, and it's produced about 40 million pounds of uranium in that time. It's made up of 4 significant deposits, originally the Beverley, and gradually through exploration success they've discovered 4 Mile, and then 4 Mile northeast and 4 Mile west. Each deposit's 30 to 50 million pounds at up to 3,000 plus ppm. So world-class deposits. It's owned by a private company, so you don't hear a lot about it in the news. They don't come to conferences like this because they're private and they don't need money from investors. And then we have Boss. Boss is a bit of a different story. They're a public company, been very much a market success. A $1 billion company. They've produced their first barrel of yellowcake in April this year, after a hiatus. Produced uranium back in the previous uranium boom, but they've finally got that back up and running and producing yellowcake again. Now Boss has 71 million pounds of resources, and one of those resources is at the Honeymoon where they're mining, and then 15 kilometres north of that is the Jason deposit, which is also 10.7 million pounds at 790. Koba has about 5,000 square, there's a saffron deposit as well. It's 5 million pounds in the same uranium channel. But Koba has the project immediately north of Boss. We have 5,000 square kilometres of prospective ground. It's 120 kilometres from our tenement boundary that we share with Boss to the northern tenement boundary. It's 120 kilometres. So it's an enormous exploration package we've got to explore. And within that, there's 250 kilometres worth of paleo channels. And these uranium deposits at Boss and Beverley are hosted within these paleo channels. Paleo channel is basically a old riverbed, so it's where a river's moved forward, and carbonaceous materials deposited in the river, and over time uranium moves through those sands deposited in the riverbed, and the uranium precipitates out. So very simply, in this case, the uranium sits in these riverbeds. We have 3 main prospects, should I say. The Oban uranium deposit is where we're currently drilling. There's a JORC 2004 compliant resource there. It's about 4.6 million pounds at 260 ppm. And then we have the Mount John prospect to the south, and we also have the Uranium North prospect. 3 prospects we're focusing on at the moment. So the Oban deposit, I'll talk about that first. That's where there's the JORC 2004 resource. There's some substantial high-grade components to the Oban deposit, and you can see on here, this shows all our recent drilling and our current drilling, so it's a little bit busy, but the key points are the bullet points there. 7.5 at 831 ppm, 2.1 at 2,236 ppm. So within this 4.6 million pound resource, there's some quite substantial high grade, and this section shows that again, that high grade can actually be quite continuous, quite contiguous. As you can see here, Again, that's a 2.1 at 22,000 ppm, 2.6 at 1100 ppm, and it all hangs together in one section. So the key to defining a substantial deposit here is understanding how this high grade works within the deposit, and that's currently what we're doing with our drill rig, trying to work out how this high grade sits within the deposit, trying to work out extensions, trying to work out everywhere it's going, and we continue to drill there today. So our drill program is ongoing. So our initial results have been confirmatory. They've confirmed pretty much what we knew was there, consistent with the previous operators. We've had quite some success. We've drilled 53 holes so far. It's about 5,400 metres. So the mineralisation at Oban is very shallow. Most of our drill holes are around about 100 metres. That ore zone, or the mineralised zone should I say, sits between 85 and 95 metres. That's very, very consistent. You'll see here 53 holes of about 110 we're planning to drill this year. So you can see the success we've had. So these are the results from our drilling program this year. 3.9 metres at 805 ppm, 2.1 at 870 ppm. And then we also get these quite thicker but slightly lower grade intervals, 5.8 metres at 322. It's quite common to get these, and within that there's a 0.7 metres at 1237 ppm. So substantial high grade areas within larger, thicker envelopes. So as part of that exploration too, in addition to confirming the mineralisation that we kind of already knew was there, we've started to do more step-out drilling. Recently we've announced the identification of the Shivers prospect. It's about 700 metres east of the Oban, and there we've only drilled 2 holes, and we started intersecting mineralisation, 0.9 metres at 464 ppm. So it's not enormous grade, but it's proof of concept, and it's now showing that the mineralisation at Oban extends much further than Oban. This is 700 metres to the east, and it shows that there's opportunities to discover mineralisation and potentially economic mineralisation outside the known Oban deposit. And given the fact that the property is 5,000 square kilometres, 250 kilometres of paleo channels, there is absolutely enormous potential to make discoveries of significant uranium deposits at our Uramba uranium project. And as an exploration geologist, that's an exploration geologist's dream, to have a project of this size, this close to producing operation and significant uranium mineralisation throughout. It really is a dream, and we're looking to build upon our asset base, our resource base, and potentially find a significant uranium deposit within our package. Our drilling is ongoing. We're planning to drill more holes at the Shivers prospect. So the drill rig's actually on site at the moment. We'll be drilling in November into December, and we'll be putting a few more holes around this Shivers prospect to see if we can find potentially thicker and higher grade mineralisation in that immediate area. So in addition to that, we drilled about 1.5 kilometres to the south of the Oban deposit at what we call the Berber prospect. And here we also identified some pretty significant mineralisation. It had been previously discovered with some economic hits, 1 metre at 860 ppm drilled in the 1990s. There's only been about 10 to 15 holes in the area. So what we actually did was we stepped out a further 350 metres and drilled 2 holes. And one of them came back at 0.3 metres at 216 ppm. Again, that's not an outstanding intercept, but when you drill 350 metres away from an area that's had 10 holes, it's quite significant. And again, it shows that this uranium is continuing further to the east. So that mineralisation at the Berber prospect now occurs over 700 metres, and we're pretty excited to get out there and test another 700 metres to the east, around 100 metres north, 100 metres south, and try and really, really knuckle down where this mineralisation sits at the Berber prospect. Further holes are planned here for November and December also. And then we're going to move to the high priority Mount John prospect. This is probably my favourite prospect. It's not as advanced as Oban, it doesn't have a resource, but it's just 4 kilometres north of Boss Energy's Jason deposit. We share a tenement boundary here with Boss. Jason has 10.7 million pounds, and just 850 metres south of our tenement boundary there's another significant drill hole. That drill hole's got 1.3 metres at 722 ppm. So this is a relatively poorly drilled area with borderline economic mineralisation immediately to the south. So you'll see on this picture here, you'll see the paleo channel. They actually host 50 million pounds of uranium between Honeymoon, Saffron and Uramba. It actually flows to the north. The historic flow direction was to the north. So this same paleo channel deposits all those deposits and then flows another 4 kilometres north and then crosses into our property. And that paleo channel continues for another 100 kilometres within our property. But the area we're going to focus on is Mount John. This map here on this screen here, from one side to the other is 20 kilometres. So it looks like there's quite a bit of drilling there, but realistically that's very limited drilling because that's 20 kilometres wide. Some of these drill holes on this map, through that section in the middle there you can see, they're 800 metres apart. You can actually fit the adjacent deposit within those drill holes. So the rig will drill a few more holes up at Oban, and then we're going to move the rig down to Mount John, where we'll chase the Uramba Paleo channel in more detail. We're also planning a passive seismic study at Mount John. One key thing about these mineralisation in these paleo channels is the shape and the bends in the paleo channel are really important. Now this is an interpreted paleo channel position from some limited drilling. When we do a passive seismic survey, we'll do that on 200 metre spacings, and that'll define the extent of the paleo channel much more effectively for us and allow us to target. So from our step out, we've still got the 5,000 square kilometres and 250 kilometres of paleo channels to explore. There's numerous other prospects that we haven't commenced looking at yet. Uramba North, we've done a little bit of work at. It's got hits of 2 metres at 530. Bingley to the north, 1 metre at 225. It's had about 5 drill holes. And then we've got all these historic ones as well. Bingley North's never been drilled by modern drilling, so all we know is there's some hits there that are 20 times background in gamma radiation. So there's just so many targets at this prospect to follow up. It's literally a matter of how much money it's going to cost to follow them up and when we're going to find a deposit out here. This is an example of one of the prospects that we have generated. You'll see here there's what we call the Uramba East Paleo Channel. It's off to the east of Mount John. This is interpreted from gravity. It's 25 kilometres of new paleo channel that is being interpreted from gravity. That may exist, it may not, but it shows you the opportunities that might be there within that 5,000 kilometre square package. If this pops up as another paleo channel, we've got another 25 kilometres to explore. I'll just quickly, a couple of minutes left, I'll talk about our RIU project in Canada. So this is in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. It's an exceptionally high-grade deposit. We acquired this project in April. It's located 50 kilometres to the west of Paladin's 127.7 million pound Michelin deposit. As you can see on this map. It was a very low-cost acquisition, quite opportunistic. We acquired it directly from a geologist, prospector-type geologist, who's continuing to do some work for us on this property. So our initial program during June this year, this is where we were able to collect a sample running 7.48% uranium. That's 74,800 ppm. That's ridiculously high grade. That sample was returned from the Moran Heights prospect, where there was a 7.48%, a 7.2% and 5 other samples assaying greater than 3%. We also got some really significant numbers from Anomaly 7, 1.7%, and 12 of the 21 samples there collected ran greater than 0.1%. So very, very high grade deposits. And we even investigated 3 new properties. One of those returned a sample of 3.68%. Now that was an airborne radiometric anomaly. We just went out there, took the first ever samples taken out there, and one of them come back at 3.48% uranium. So it's a really, really highly prospective area, high grade, and just needs a bit more work to work it up. Our project now actually hosts 10 prospects that have returned rock chip samples greater than 1% uranium. So although it's slightly different to the in situ stuff in South Australia, that's high grade, that's very exciting, and we're looking forward to doing a bit more work out there in 2025 as we work up targets to make them ready for drilling. That's a bit of our work program. So next coming months we're going to be doing seismic survey, target generation, drilling. There were drill results coming. We're going to have a really busy couple of months leading up to Christmas. There's going to be plenty of news flow from the drill rig, from the seismic survey. Really exciting times. Yeah, that'll do. Thanks very much, guys.